It's time to get your morning started with the news you need to know.
News update.
This is what's trending with DJ and PK. Hashtag NBA.
Curry, jab, triple, he sticks it!
Steph, say calm down, everybody.
It's Cloudy with a chance of Curry's. Durant, back to Curry, dancing on Batum, over the double team. Oh! It's a golden dagger! Night! Curry, unconscious in the fourth. Davis with a rebound. Up ahead for Booker. Exclamation point.
He's a bad boy. Night.
8 threes for Curry. He has sent the French crowd into a frenzy they will never forget.
Steph Curry's the hero. 8 of 13 from the three-point line. All 24 points from beyond the arc. 3 straight possessions. The last one was unbelievable. It was 4 of them in 2 minutes and 11 seconds. You want shooting performances, PK? It's not going to get any better than that.
Are sporting figures really heroes?
I guess that would have to be a person-by-person response to that.
All right, line them up. We're
Let's
down
go.
here at the KSL building. Get out there.
330 million people, one at a time. Here we go.
Oh, you're just living in it to Americans.
Yes, I am.
Now, are those the one that are here legally, or because then it's more than that? Are
Could
they
be a little-
are
could
they
be-
Americans?
Could be a little blurry at the
Yeah,
end.
okay,
Could be a little
okay.
blurry at the end, yeah.
Yeah, that was an incredible shooting performance. The last one was off the charts. It was like a Harlem Globetrotters video game, not even real.
I love that Durant gave him the ball, though, because when Curry gives it up, if Durant just swings it to his left, LeBron's wide open. But Durant's like, nah, this is a show. It's heat check time for the Hall of Famer. Pause. Right back to Steph Curry. Meanwhile, LeBron's wide open. Oh, well.
Fading away and amazing.
And the little flick to get rid of it real quick.
As he does.
Unnaturally high arc for any other human being, but no problem for him. Bang.
Yeah, amazing.
That was spectacular. So gold for the U.S. and the U.S. women as well. They beat France also 67-66. The game-tying 3 turned out to be a 2. The toe was on the line. Banked it in, but no overtime.
I thought it was more than the toe. I was wondering what was she doing in that situation. I thought you momentum going forward, I didn't really understand it. I thought maybe they thought there were more seconds on the clock because there's no doubt that that was not going to be a 3. And it wasn't. And the ladies won too.
Jason Tatum says that despite the fact he was relegated to the bench for a big chunk of the 6-game Olympic tournament, it will not impact his decision to play for Team USA in the future. Quote, it was a tough personal experience on the court, but I'm not going to make any decisions off emotions. He asked me right now if I was going to play in 2028. That's 4 years from now. I have to take time and think about that, so I'm not going to make any decision based off how this experience was or how I felt individually.
Who would expect him to?
That's a long way out. Think of all the Olympics Steph Curry never played in, even though he wanted to. Health and all that stuff. It's a long ways.
Yeah.
Long ways away. Although you do think that LeBron, Durant, Curry, I mean, there ought to be a lot of spots and minutes and big shots open. You wouldn't think those 3 guys would be back in 4 years.
Well, Curry would be younger than LeBron is right now. It's so funny.
He's 36. He'd be 40. Isn't LeBron 39?
I thought Steph was 34. He's 36. Uh-oh. Get those fingers going.
Yeah. I thought Durant was 34. Did I get it backwards? Maybe I got it backwards. That'll give me something to do during the break, though, so that's good news. DJ and PK.
Hashtag NFL.
Now, I understand completely the angst that's happening when you are anxious about and someone says anything about whether you're missed or not. Well, CD, you're missed, okay? But you're not missed out here competing, and it doesn't put any pressure any place on us.
Jerry Jones updating the update on CeeDee Lamb's holdout. Jerry just can't help himself. He's got to be in the spotlight for better or worse. He's the owner and GM. Nobody's firing him, so
Is it the
whatever.
media? I mean, they go to him too. If you ignored him, then you have to put out his own little speech.
Put it out on social media. Get your team employees over here. I got something for the Cowboys social feed. Let's go. Raiders coach Antonio Pierce says the plan is for the team to name a starting quarterback after their second preseason game when they play the Dallas Cowboys at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. So they're going to figure that out. Denver, what are they going to figure out? Bo Nix, 4 scoring drives in 5 series, 15 of 21 for 125 yards and a touchdown in a 34-30 win over in Indianapolis. But Zach Wilson, 10 of 13 for 117 yards in the victory.
Zach is back.
Zach is back.
Look good. I
Back in
mean, I
good.
didn't watch the game. I don't really watch preseason NFL. I just saw the stats and some highlights.
10 to 13 will work for you, though.
For sure, yeah, absolutely.
Keaton Slovis, the former Cougar, playing for the Colts in that game. They played 5 quarterbacks, and everybody threw between 4 and 6 passes. You break a sweat, good, you're out. Next! Slovis was 3 of 5, though, so he had that going for him.
Yeah, that's like going 2 of 4. Expect you're a 500 hitter.
Yeah, I don't know what you get when you see 5 different guys.
He's just trying to make the
5
team,
throws
man.
each.
That's all his goal is, and hopefully for him he does. That'd be awesome.
DJ and PK.
Hashtag college football.
Eric Christensen with CBS Sports Colorado.
You doing CBS?
Tyler,
I'm not doing nothing with CBS. Next question.
Joe Rigo, Mile
Ain't got nothing to do with
Radio.
you. It's above that. Ain't got nothing to do with you. I got love for you. I appreciate you, respect you. Ain't got nothing to do with you. They know what they did.
I'm here in Denver, not national.
You are who you are. CBS is CBS.
All right. Joe
Ain't got
Rigo,
nothing
Mile
to do with
Sport.
you. I respect you. That's why I told you that. I'm looking you in the eye as a man. I respect you. I got love for you. But what they did was foul.
Colorado Buffaloes coach Deion Sanders celebrating his 57th birthday, welcomed his first grandchild, and there you go with the media picking and choosing who he's going to answer questions and who he's going to take questions from, denying the local CBS affiliate, and also he won't talk to the Denver Post until he talks to the reporter privately. And they
I
ironed
think
it
that
out.
was the columnist guy rather than the reporter.
The reporter?
Yes. The CBS thing is just ridiculous. And that's like if somebody over there, Denver, is a Bonneville company, and somebody on their sports radio said something, and then this year when I'm over at Colorado, I raise my hand. He said, "Oh no, you're a Bonneville employee." I'm like, I mean, that's just ridiculous.
Don't even know those people.
Yeah, that's silly. But he's buying himself some needless grief. It doesn't make any sense. And I always like looking at it as the same thing with Urban Meyer and Ohio State, you know, that McMurphy was a bum, and then you click on the guy's Twitter address, Ohio. And now it's either obviously what we know who Deion is and what he looks like, and so we're going to have some representation there. And then if you're a Colorado Buffalo fan, if not, you're going to look at that and say, why is he doing this? This is not, doesn't make any sense.
A lot of energy that doesn't have anything to do with winning. But you're spending the energy and focus over here. Former Florida State running back Rodney Hill blamed a bad agent for his circuitous path through the transfer portal to Arkansas. He told Arkansas media members he was forced to leave Florida State after coaches there learned an agent had been contacting other teams to gauge interest in Hill before he entered the transfer portal. Hill said the agent had been hired by his parents and then began texting coaches from other programs, purporting to be Hill before he had entered the transfer portal. Awesome. Got the agent out there. Should he go? Should he stay? And Florida State's like, if you don't know if you want to be here, get out. But it was the agent, hired by the parents. College sports, you're loving it now, huh, PK? Welcome to the era.
I tuned that out. That's okay. What? I'm about the games.
2.5 weeks. We're getting there. Almost, sort of. We get the AP poll this week, Yuck.
Today.
Is it coming out today?
Yeah.
Nice. I'm going to get that. That's something.
10 a.m.
Take it.
So right after our show goes off the air.
Right after our show. I
Put
love
up a
Jake and
question
Ben.
on Facebook on it.
There you go. DJ and PK.
Hashtag Major League Baseball.
Here's the 3-2.
And Bregman crushes one deep to left field, and you can kiss that one goodbye. Over the monster seats and on the Lansdowne Street, a 3-run home run for Alex Bregman, and the Astros lead it 4-0.
Cal with a 2-run homer off the scoreboard below the Hit It Here Cafe right field last time up. Swing and a drive. That baby's way gone. Big Cal. Another 2-home run performance. He drives in 3, and the Mariners have blown this baby wide open. 10-1 Seattle.
0-2 to Teoscar. He swings, base hit to right field, rounding third. Kike, here's the throw to the plate. It is late. Dodgers win it. Teoscar Hernandez with his 6th career walk-off hit, and the Dodgers sweep the Pirates for their 69th win of the year.
2 in the 10th for the Dodgers, and they get the 6-5 win over the Pittsburgh Pirates. Dodgers trying to hold it together there in the National League West as Arizona and San Diego come charging, and good weekend for them.
Yeah, Dodgers lost another pitcher. River Ryan.
Another day, another pitcher.
Yeah.
Well, they've opened the advantage back up to 3.5 games with their 3-game win streak. Also, Diamondbacks, 12-5 winners over Philadelphia. Their hot streak continues. They've had their issues, PK. You've talked about some of the players they've lost, but that's 3 in a row, 7 out of 8 for them. You keep going back. The numbers stay awesome all the way back to the All-Star break.
Yeah, their first baseman's out, their catcher's out, the second baseman went out. Yesterday, the left fielder went out. But they got Merrill Kelly back. He's a guy who pitched well in the postseason last year. Some of you may remember him. His wife went to Thunderbird High School, Phoenix, Arizona. He's a local guy.
All the great ones do, right?
So we'll see, man. Some good teams playing some good ball as we head down the stretch.
Aaron Judge, home run number 42, tops in the big leagues. Yankees beat the Rangers 8-7. Soto went deep twice in that game. They're called the Bronx Bombers for a reason. And they are tied with the Orioles for the top spot after the Orioles lost to the Rays 2-1, so they're tied for first in the AL East.
Soto is just going to waltz into the Hall of Fame. 25 years old. What a star he is.
And just crushing balls. Also, the Bees lost. The Aviators win 10-6. The Aviators win 5 out of 6 in the week-long series and take over first place in the division by a half game over the Bees and Tacoma. Bees are off today. They'll be at Sacramento tomorrow. DJ and PK.
Hashtag RSL.
Dorsey lumps it into the center circle. Hidalgo there heads it forward. Nobody can get on the end of it. Here comes Gomez, and he shoots and scores. Gomez swoops in as Clark's comes off his line. The center backs had their backs turned, and Gomez pounces.
And Gomez will now be rewarded. He's going to move to one of the top clubs, League One in France, for $11 million. With add-ons, it could be $13 million. Huge transfer fee. And RSL expected to spend some of that money on Dominik Marczyk, 20-year-old Polish winger, reportedly set to join RSL. So, summer transfer window, guys are coming and going. One going, three showing up. Those two deals, I guess they verbally agreed, but the paperwork not expected to be finished until today, but they should both happen. And RSL will have 2 weeks to integrate them before they're back in action the 24th against San Jose. DJ and PK.
Hashtag golf.
Wyndham Championship, that was a collapse, PK. You knock one ball OB, you hit a cart path, the ball hops into the forest, and next thing you know, your 4-shot lead is gone. Max Grazerman beaten. Aaron Rai wins the Wyndham Championship. Zach Blair tying for 45th at 5 under. Patrick Fishburne missed the cut. But incredible collapse after a lob wedge from the fairway for the Eagle.
Okay, we get it. You worked Sunday. Jeez.
The tournament isn't even technically over because I think they have 2 guys still on the course as play like the 18th.
Kuchar catching all sorts of grief.
Yeah, he's catching a lot of heat for that, not playing the last hole. What is Trending is brought to you by Shamrock Plumbing. There's no job too big or too small. Get the personal touch with Shamrock Plumbing. Question of the day coming up next. Mitch Harper, BYU Cougar Insider at 8 o'clock. Steve Bartle, Ute Insider at 9 o'clock right here on The Zone.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I present?
This is JJ and Alex.
This time of year, and you'll see it more in the next couple weeks too. It gets hot. Everybody's attitude gets a little bit more pissy, right? Everyone's mad about all the work that they've had to do.
It's really hot outside.
Super hot.
Really hot.
You have a little bit of a lack of sleep, and your nutrition is off just a little bit. Whatever it might be, everything kind of adds up to things getting a little chippy in practice. Which is, I think the coaches go, "Hey, we're a team here. Come on now," and then they look at each other and go, "I like it." You know what I mean? Like, the coaches turn around and go, "Wake up, you guys, we're a team." And then they turn around and they kind of wink at each other like, yes, they're fired up. That's what you need. That's what you want this time of year.
Catch JJ and Alex afternoons from 3 to 6. Presented by G2G Bars on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5 The Zone. Hot Takes or Toast brought to you by Siegfried and Jensen with 30 years of serving Utah. Question of the morning, PK, you just alluded to it. During the What is Trending segment, Zach Wilson, was it really just the New York Jets?
Yeah.
Now he puts on a Bronco jersey. He's 10 of 13 for 117 yards.
See, the Jets don't even know where they are.
They're really in Jersey.
Right.
But they call
they
themselves
do nothing
New York.
in New York.
Well,
They don't party after wins because they don't have any.
Hey-oh.
They practice in Florham Park.
That's in Jersey, people.
They play East Rutherford. See, Denver knows who it is. I'm a Denver Bronco. All the guys, they're all confused.
They're not from Colorado Springs.
They don't
not from
pay
Fort Collins.
New York State taxes. Pay Jersey. So they get an identity crisis. So once you go there, they've only won one Super Bowl. Where did they play home games that year?
Queens, baby. Shea Stadium.
Right. They knew who they were.
The Big Apple. One of the 5 boroughs. Not across the river in the Garden State.
Everyone's confused. And Denver, you know full well. I'm a Denver Bronco. Literally in Denver. I think that's part of the problem. They don't have an identity crisis.
Dave says this is just the preseason, but yes, it was the Jets.
Yeah, the Jets.
Josh, behind the Jets O-line, it was garbage. He's got a little trash can
right
thing there for 3 seasons.
And it would have been 4 if they didn't trade him.
The Jets didn't help, Tony says, but having an offensive line is very helpful.
Oh, it's a requirement. It's a must. When you take the hike, the snap, and you're literally minus 5 guys, you're in trouble. You know what you're doing?
What are you doing?
You're running for your life. I mean, no quarterback. I think it was, what was it, Baker Mayfield? And somebody chased him down in Dallas or something? The police?
Yeah, he was inebriated and got chased down.
Yeah, so he was running for his life. That's like the only time it's ever happened. You know what I mean?
Everything else, just football, just an overstatement, an exaggeration.
He can jump out of the gym. No, he can't.
That would be awesome.
In fact, he'd hit his head, and he'd get a concussion, and then he'd come crashing to the floor.
I like
it's
it
like
when
people
you go
say,
liberal.
I'd love to be a fly on the wall. Well, after the conversation, then you're a fly. You're probably going to get swatted to death. Who wants that? Just for a little information?
The Fly was a gruesome movie.
Doesn't make any sense to me.
Didn't like that movie.
I'd rather plant some type of, like they do with the mob, like Tony and Tony's mother, who's going to whack him.
A little bug?
Yeah, right. Do that, then you don't have to turn into a fly and get swatted.
Leroy says the Jets are where quarterbacks go to die.
Well, if they're running for their lives.
See?
And not everyone is going to escape. Some are going to die.
Not everyone is buying August football. Pete, it's only one game. Matt, it's preseason. He's got Allen Iverson.
Irregardless.
We're talking about practice.
So what?
Well, it is famous for, you're playing against backups, not the NFL starters you'll face. And the defenses
is a backup.
Tend to be. He wants to be the starter.
Well, he's a backup. He's not starting.
The defenses tend to be vanilla. There's another August.
He's a backup. He's trying to make the team.
Well, he may have just done that. I don't know if he can unseat Bo Nix. If the coach decides he likes Bo, then everybody else is playing for
Oh,
Backer
Bo
Bros.
knows.
Bo knows. Different Bo.
I am pro Bo knows.
Clever.
I've always advocated it.
You think there was less pressure? Or given how things went in New York, I think there was plenty of pressure on him when he jogged out there.
Is something that you put on yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So only Zach can answer that. Because pressure, as David Shaw once said to me, it's not a real thing. It's not like that thermos that you just put to your mouth to have a drink of water.
That's a real thing.
I assume it's water. I've never checked.
It's water.
It's something that is extrinsic.
Ooh.
So that
Look at
is
that.
something only Zach Wilson can answer.
Walter Cronkite High School of Journalism
Look at
right
the big
there.
brain on PK.
Yeah.
No one can answer that accurately except for Zach. And what was he thinking? Is he thinking, I got nothing to lose, man. I'm on my way out. Or he's thinking, oh my gosh, I am on my way out. I better come through. Or I'm just going to have that hottie from Jersey, and she and I are just going to make beautiful kids together, but my glory and fame as an NFL quarterback is out the window. Or he's the exact opposite. I come from a family of extreme wealth. Like your boy, the Herd, was on him for the whole rookie year about how, because his in-law or uncle founded JetBlue and some other company and another guy. And Lisa Wilson comes from a whole lot of wealth, and good for him. So does he take the attitude, there's really no pressure on me. If I don't make it, so what? I'll still have a great life, which is, I'm fine with that if that's the way he wants to think. Because ultimately, a great life is more important than throwing a ball around on Sundays, right? I think we would all agree with that. He's achieved way more than 99.9% of people who ever pick up a football have achieved. It's the same thing with Jimmer.
Getting a college scholarship, let alone starting in college, just getting the college scholarship, the odds are so stacked against you.
Yeah. So that's an interesting question, but there really is only one person on the planet who can answer that, and that's Zach himself. And my guess is he was able to block that out and play free, because ultimately you have to, no matter what you're doing, and whether it's sports, you've got to be able to think clearly and not be wrapped up in whatever got you down last year, last month, yesterday, whatever. And that's a great philosophical thing to do, but it's hard. So I would at least think there would be a modicum of pressure, knowing that he's got to make the team. I think minimally he can be a practice squad guy if that is something that I guess is better than nothing.
Keeps you close so you're ready when the injury happens.
But those guys
don't really seem to get the glory. They get to hang on, and they're there.
Yeah.
But it's a long shot to get to play from there.
Yeah, how many guys? I'm thinking of like a Josh Rosen, high pick, didn't pan out, bounced around practice squads, and then like 3-4 years later, you don't hear from him. He's out doing whatever. He's moved on. You know, like the best example, or not the best, but a high profile would be Leinart. And then he goes into broadcasting, so he's still making a name there. And probably because he was from SC and didn't he win the Heisman and all that stuff. So
he's a quarterback from USC.
Right.
If he'd been from Fresno State, he'd be doing something else.
Most likely, yes. I get your point. Now he's going to have to build upon this, but what a great start. The talent is there, though, man. And I'm not a quarterback analyst, but I still think the talent is there. You remember that throw?
Who could forget? Don says he's in a better situation with the Broncos, but Bo's going to be the starter. Sorry, BYU fans.
Yeah, it's not about that. Because if it played out the way it was supposed to, he wouldn't have been the starter last year. And he wouldn't have been the starter this year.
But you never know.
It's about making the roster and being there. And if you can do that, then eventually something is going to happen to where you're going to get another opportunity. And they do this with quarterbacks. We had a big argument, Riley and I don't know, it was an argument about paying all this money to Jordan Love basically on one season. And you can argue
basically on half a season.
Yeah. And they did it, and he's the highest paid, and maybe it works out. But we went through some guys who got paid and looked good over there. But
looked good for a while and then didn't sustain it.
Yeah, who's the Jimmy G really hasn't. Now he's had, you can argue, some injuries. But I named a guy, Kevin Kolb, got in there in Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Cardinals paid him big money, and then he was gone. And
did you name Nick
Matt
Foles?
Castle. Well, Foles hung around, though.
He did hang around, but he never played at the level that got him the contract.
Well, he won him a Super Bowl.
He was a Super Bowl winning quarterback, and it comes out of nowhere, and then gets paid after that. And what did he play for? 3 more teams? I even lost track. I mean,
yeah, but I think he was a journeyman the whole time, though.
Journeyman who had a great half season, had 2 or 3 good months.
Well, he took advantage of an injury situation. Yeah, but I mean that's all he ever. But he wasn't a young guy who had a little bit of a splash. He doesn't really fit the category.
I get why you say that about Love, and I get if there's Packer fans who are nervous. I get it. It wasn't that big a sample size, but based on where he was in the contract, they had to decide. And if I'd been deciding, I'd have paid him. Would I have some nerves about it? Maybe if you're closer and you know more, you don't.
They must.
But from where we are, I think they had to pay him. Maybe it doesn't work out. It probably does. But I get why there's some angst there because it isn't that big a sample size. But the sample was so good. And you are the ones who didn't let him play for 3 years, and we all get why. You needed a few games to adjust. You got to decide. I'd decide to pay him too. But, yeah, there could be buyer's remorse. I think the odds are against it, but could happen. He'll probably be fine.
We got it.
But will he be great? How about this from John? At different times in their careers, Joe Montana and Steve Young looked horrible behind bad offensive lines and schemes. John Elway and Dan Marino are the only quarterbacks I've ever seen who obviously were great regardless of the players around them.
I can't remember if Joe Montana looked horrible.
Elway and Marino look great, though.
I mean, you're putting Joe Montana in the same sentence as Zach Wilson. That's a little scary.
Michael, Zach was against the threes, an undrafted free agents in the fourth quarter. I can't find that in form of a gift, DJ. Sorry. LOL. Not buying it.
Talking about a third-team quarterback here. Wouldn't it be that he's playing against his level of competition?
So will they give him some time in the first half in a future game? Or Bo's a rookie, and so in this situation, no.
Well, it's interesting to see what they do with those guys. You know, the Bears are the same situation. And Jaden Daniels seems like there's 10 guys this year.
There's certainly half a dozen.
Well, quarterbacks get a big run on now these days as far as being drafted. So all these dudes, how much are they going to play in preseason? You know, a veteran dude doesn't normally play. How much do they go in that situation? That's an interesting deal on how to handle your quarterbacks in the preseason, especially someone we know how they handle veteran guys, but how do you handle the rooks?
And are we looking at this right? Should we just look at can Wilson win the backup job? Can he be the second string guy instead of the third guy? If Nix gets it just because Nix is the rookie and he's new and they're going to give him a run, maybe there's nothing you can do about that. But if you beat out Stidham and you're the backup, if Nix gets hurt or if there's production issues, you're the guy.
I don't see that.
You don't see him as a number 2?
Not now, no.
Oh, really?
No.
Stidham's got that locked up.
I don't know that Stidham isn't going to start. Apparently, you've anointed Nix as the starter. I don't follow it close enough to know that. But I'm looking as the third guy and go from there. Be on the roster, dress, those types of things. Just be in the NFL. And that's all I'm concerned about for him, is to be in the NFL. And then maybe something happens there. I think if you're in the NFL, then you will get another opportunity somewhere, because he's still young enough to have time on his side. He's not 30 plus.
And there's desperate search for quarterbacks. They need 100 of them.
Yeah.
And there aren't 100 good ones.
This is the old Jerry Sloan line. He's not auditioning for the Denver Broncos exclusively by any stretch.
There's 31 other teams, and they all watch the film.
Yes. He's auditioning for all these potential teams. And maybe they do put him on the practice squad, which then you're aligned, but you're also a free agent.
Because somebody else comes calling, then the Broncos either got to give you a roster spot or let you go.
Right. Yeah, and that's super interesting right there. So I don't care if it's against the fifth string guys. Everyone's watching. I mean, Trevor Riley tells the story of that when he was with Miami, and if you didn't hear from them on Labor Day, that meant show up on Tuesday. You're on the team. He shows up on Tuesday, and they picked up another player who got cut on somebody else's team. So he's celebrating at 6 o'clock Labor Day night, and then he goes in there the next day.
Bad news.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. Like he was talking about that, how that stuff works, right? So, my gosh, who's to say? If he plays well in the preseason and carries it out, would they play 3 games now? They dropped out to 1, right?
It's 3.
You'd have to assume he'd play in all 3. I don't even know that, but just go on the logic that he does. And I don't know that he'll go 10 of 13 again, but say he plays well enough the next 2, then literally anything can happen. Because he's still young enough. And maybe there was something there with the Jets and changing coordinators and first-year head coach when he got there. And it is the New York area and all. And he was the second pick and golden boy, and his mother was making news. And they were making news for stuff that didn't need to be news-makeable, because it doesn't help you be a better quarterback. You know, all that stuff. And you had Zach's nil and Mill, and that stuff was, it all gets in the way.
It's all theater.
Yeah. And it plays out in a stage where theater is big.
Yeah.
If it's with the Carolina Cougars, whatever they are,
Carolina Cougars.
Nobody cares.
I think you mean the Carolina Panthers.
I meant the Hornets.
No, the Charlotte Hornets.
Yeah, right? Nobody cares about that.
I think the Carolina Cougars are an ABA team.
I know they were.
Oh,
but see, he was a Cougar. Yeah. And then you had the other Cougar there. So you had Cougars all over the place.
I can almost graph that.
So I know what I was doing there.
Genius.
But all that stuff, and if it were to happen, there'd be crazier stories. So it's all plausible that it could happen. Just stick in the NFL. Minimally, be a Ty Detmer-like player. And maybe you can go for more in time. But it's exciting that he played well in his first opportunity away from the Jets. And it's the 5th team, it's this, it's that. But he still played well. That's all that matters. He played well. You can come up with all the reasons and excuses why, but he still played well, and that's the most important thing in the moment.
DJ PK, it's 97.5 The Zone. Mitch Harper's talking BYU football at 8 o'clock. Steve Bartle talking youth football at 9 right here on The Zone.
Accessing.
This is Hans Olsen and Scotty G.
One of the best when it comes to college football. For CBS Sports, it is Dennis Dodd.
Somebody's got to win the Big 12, and whoever wins that league is going to be in the playoff. And I think Utah's that team this year. The style they play, we all know what it is, very physical. That's why they were able to dominate the Pac-12 the last few years. I think it could fit in any conference. I think they would fit comfortably in the SEC, obviously in the Big 12. I think in the Big 10 they could play anywhere. And then you get Cam Rising back. I mean, this is a guy we know 7 years, and he's just going to blow it out his final year. I just like the way that Kyle, because of his dad, I think his dad's legacy, he knows how to build a football team. You build it from the inside out on the line. And that's not always the case for everybody these days. Coaches talk about it, but Kyle Whittingham does it.
Catch Hanson Scotty weekdays from noon to 3 on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
The band of the day today is Billy Currington, brought to you by Live Nation. For all the live concerts and events in 2024, check out livenation.com.
DJ, I just need to tell you, God is great, the beer is good, and people are crazy.
Is that your favorite Billy Currington song?
No. But it is this tune. My sister loves this tune. It's from Savannah, Georgia. Yeah. God is great. Beer is good. You know what the old man said?
I'm about to find out.
God is great. Beer is good. And people are crazy.
People are definitely crazy.
I was at the Gannery on Saturday watching Billy Currington. And you have to stand. There are no seats. And the guy next to me, "Hey, you're that guy on TV!"
Yay.
And then he kept touching me.
That is so weird. I've seen you on TV. I will now touch you.
Yeah. He must have put his arm around me 10 times before I realized, hey, I'm just going to switch. Wife, you stand here. I stand there. And then he was telling people, this guy's on TV. And then the other people, he lived in Evanston, so he had no idea about the radio. And then the next thing I know, these other, oh, yeah. And she's snapping a picture of me. I'm just there to jam.
I'm sorry. Not really.
I mean, God is great, the beer is good, and people are crazy.
People are crazy, and you're standing next to the craziest.
But it was harmless. It was a good show outside. The weather was great. Some country. That's how country boys roll. That's a great tune. And earlier I had done some golfing, and the guy at first hole, "You're Patrick Kinahan." His name is Daniel. I told him I'd mention him.
Hey, Daniel.
Reason why I'm mentioning him is because he grew up here, recently moved back from Carlsbad. And my wife and I had simply one question. Why?
Carlsbad being a very nice part of San Diego County.
Oh, gorgeous. I mean, it's gorgeous there for sure. I was just there a couple weeks back. And he had family here, young guy, married. Not sure if his wife is here, but he's from here, grew up here, went to Park City and all that stuff, went to the U, and wanted to come back to family. Works in the golf business, in the golf industry. Yeah.
Park City is a good place to be from.
Yeah. I don't know if he moved back there, but he moved back here in the area because of family. And family matters. This is a family community for sure. But you know what he told me? He said, "Hey, PK, my buddy wanted to know if I wanted to buy tickets to SU's game against Utah." He went to the U and all that. Mm-hmm. He said at face value, he says, $150 for SUU.
No, thank you.
I said, yeah. That's the going rate, man.
Yeah, but that's the going rate, face value. But secondary market, he could probably do better than that.
Well, that's what I told him.
Yeah.
I said, check the secondary. I wonder, though. You know, I don't know where the seats are. Although there's really, Rice Eccles is not that big to where You can't. And now with the scoreboard being so gigantic.
If the other end and you can't see, just look at that and you'll see it.
Yeah.
Literally see the coaches look at it, get a better view.
Oh, when I'm down on the field, that's all I watch. I mean, yeah, it's when I go down towards the end of the games.
Having grown up in multi-purpose stadiums, all these stadiums.
You grew up there?
That's what I grew up going to.
You became, you didn't say
Yeah,
that.
I had a tent out there underneath the scoreboard.
Well, maybe you became a man there. How do I know?
You go to one of these baseball-only stadiums, you go to a college football stadium, and all the seats are awesome. You could be in the last row at a 70,000-seat stadium, 100,000.
That's all they have now.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, the multi-purpose.
But what
is
I
done.
didn't know is, do they have, like the BYU game, that seat probably wouldn't cost $150. Don't they have adjustable
variable pricing?
Yeah.
The Jazz have used that.
Right.
Now, I don't know what the Utes are doing, but it is becoming more common in the
I thought that was the way of the world.
Industry. Yeah. And maybe that is it for the Utes. Maybe, I don't know. I haven't asked anybody. And maybe other games are $200 and that one's $150 because.
Well, it doesn't seem to make any sense to charge the same for the BYU game versus SUU.
I get your point.
Yeah. And this is a money-making business, man. It's all about the money. That's why the Pac-12 collapsed, and that's why you're in the Big 12 today. It's all cash. Everything is cash.
It is king.
And Kyle talking about the top 25 will correspond to the top 25 in NIL. It's all cash. It's good. This is the great thing about college sports.
Now we know.
Stuff I've been saying for years.
It's all true.
Yeah.
It's all quotable.
It wasn't ever exclusively about the student athlete. That was always a bunch of crap. Kids were always getting paid. I have been saying this for years. I would come in back in the early days. Questions for the student athletes? No. Questions for the players. They don't go there to play school.
Nice. Which Ohio State quarterback?
Cardale Jones.
Cardale Jones.
My hero. I got a big poster of him on my wall.
He said it.
National champion Cardale Jones.
Yeah. He said, and it's true. Especially for some of these. Now, these guys can go and get a degree. That's not the issue. You can do that for sure. You can get a master's degree. If Cam Rising gets out of here with a silly old bachelor's degree, 7 years in college.
We don't have time for it, but a national writer has done a list, believe it or not, 2.5 weeks before the season. And the Utes are on it. And it's about coaches, but the quarterback gets a shout out. We'll have to get to that at 8:30.
I'll be here.
I think there's two things in here that will trigger you.
Unless I keel over between now and then.
All right. We'll talk about that at 8:30. Coming up next.
I won't. You know why? Because God is great. The beer is good.
And people are crazy. BYU Cougars insider for the Zone, Mitch Harper, joins us next. Stay with us.